Help me reach 9,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. She came in at 12:07 a.m., dropped her purse on the entry bench like she owned the place, and headed straight to the sink for a glass of water. No hey, no sorry I'm late. Just the soft click of her heels on the tile and that easy, distant face she'd started wearing like a new coat. Where were you? I asked from the kitchen table. Laptop open. Bills up. I wasn't hiding that I was still awake. She didn't even look over. Out. With who? She took a long sip, set the glass down like she was done with the conversation, and finally glanced at me. Don't do that. Do what? This check-in routine. I'm not 16. I sat back. It's midnight, Aaron. And I was with the girls. We lost track of time. Is that a crime? She grabbed her phone, thumb moving. You going to log my minutes? Something low in my chest cooled off. I'm asking a normal question, and I gave you a normal answer. She turned for the hallway. Don't make this a thing, Matt. If I'd known where that tone was headed, I would have slept on the couch and saved us both the warm-up. I closed the laptop. We good? She stopped by the doorway. We're fine. You're just sensitive lately. Sensitive. Stressed. Work. You know. She flicked a smile that missed her eyes and disappeared down the hall. I stared at the empty glass. The faucet was still dripping. I fixed the handle on instinct, then sat a minute in the quiet, sorting the difference between normal tired and a shift in gravity. This felt like gravity. Next morning, I made eggs and coffee, set the pan to soak, and waited for her shuffle. She came out in leggings, ponytail, already half on her phone. Morning, I said. Morning. She grabbed a mug. I'm running late. Where'd you end up going last night? Ugh, Matt, can we not? She dumped creamer into the cup, looked at the clock like it offended her, and added, we had a thing. It ran long. What kind of thing? Just a thing. I pointed to the calendar on the fridge. I'm starting a new system. Any night either of us is out past 10, we put it on the board. Name, plan, rough return time. I'll do the same. She blinked. Excuse me. Standard courtesy. Keeps us synced. She laughed once. The kind people do when they think you're joking, but they're ready to not like it if you aren't. I'm not doing a permission slip. It's not a permission slip. It's a heads up. If I'm out in my shop late, it goes up. If you're out late, it goes up. That's all. Feels controlling. Feels like respect. I moved past her, grabbed my keys. I'm taking the truck to the shop. I'll be late tonight. It's on the board. She looked at the fridge, looked back at me. I'll think about it. That's fine. I nodded to the mug in her hand. Don't be late on my account. She rolled her eyes, took her coffee, and stepped into her shoes by the door. I'll text you. Please do. She left. I stared at the calendar and wrote in tune up. Late, back by 9. Then I drew a new line through the budget list on the whiteboard. Shared expenses only. Personal stuff separate. She wanted independence. Here. Independence with numbers. At noon I checked my phone. Nothing. At 3, a thumbs up emoji. No words. At 7, don't wait up. I didn't. But I wrote it down. I run a small automotive shop on the south side. 3 bays, 2 techs, and a gray floor that's always clean at opening and honest by noon. Marcus has been with me 6 years and reads engines like they write him letters. He slid from under a Chevy and wiped his hands. You staying late again? Yeah. I checked the parts list. Inventory's behind. He looked at me the way guys look when they know but haven't been invited in. You good, man? I'm fine. I set my phone screen up on the workbench so the light would hit me if anything came through. Busy. The bay door rattled. The wind carried in the sound of a laugh I'd heard too many times in my kitchen lately. High, sharp, meant for a crowd. It wasn't Erin. It was Dana, one of her orbit friends, in a coat she couldn't afford 2 months ago. She peeked around the open bay. Marcus, is Matt here? Marcus jerked a thumb. Right there. She glided in like she was doing me a favor. Hey, stranger. What do you need, Dana? Erin forgot her water bottle in my car last night and asked me to drop it. She held up a stainless bottle like proof of life. We were worried about all your rules. Marcus went very interested in a torque wrench. I took the bottle. Appreciate the drop. You can leave it at the desk next time. Next time? She smiled. So there's a schedule now? There's a calendar. For adults. We use words. Cute. She swung her keys. Tell Erin we're doing a girls' dinner Friday. No boys allowed. I'm booked Friday. I didn't ask you. She giggled at her own line like it was champagne. Tell her to dress up. Marcus looked at his boots. I set the bottle on the bench, very gently. I'll pass it along. She tilted her head. Don't be mad, Matt. It's not a big deal. I'm not mad. I glanced at my phone screen. I'm also not 12. She shrugged like I was missing a joke and click-clacked out. Marcus exhaled. That circle she runs with, they like a stage. Yup. He watched me watch my phone. You sure you're good? Working on it. At 7, a text from Aaron. Think I can bring you a late dinner? I was harsh yesterday. I stared at the screen a beat. The timing was too neat after Dana's parade. But I wasn't allergic to an attempt. Sure, I typed. Back Bay. 8:30. She showed up at 8 on the dot with takeout in a paper bag and that apologetic smile people practice in the mirror. Truce. Temporary ceasefire, I said. Sit. We ate on the office stools. She watched my face between bites. I'm sorry about snapping, she said. I've been keyed up. From what? Everything. The house. My mom. Work. She fiddled with a napkin. I should have told you I was going out. I'll be better. Okay. I took a sip of water. We'll stick with the calendar. Friday I'm tied up. She nodded. I'll keep it early. That'll help. She reached across the desk, let her fingers touch my wrist like a peace treaty. I don't want us to be tense. Then let's not be. She held the look 2 beats, then pulled back. I'll see you at home. After she left, Marcus leaned in the doorway. That looked like diplomacy. It was. I dumped the trash, cleaned the desk. We'll see if it holds. At 10:45 the house camera blinked her in. At 10:46, she put a heart on the calendar back by 10. At 10:47 she deleted it. The system wasn't the point. The point was I'd said it out loud. Friday came with an early text. Dana booked a table. I'll be home by 10. Put it on the board, I answered. At 6, I was home by myself, slow cooking chicken, sending Marcus a list for Monday. Erin came out of the bedroom in a black jacket and perfume I hadn't smelled on her in our house before. She twirled once. Like, it's new. A little treat. She winked. Don't wait up. You said 10. 10-ish. Make it 10. She smiled like I'd said something cute. Yes, sir. I'm not playing. She grabbed her bag. I'll text. At 8, no text. At 9:15, a photo popped up in the group thread she shared with the girls. 3 glasses, sequins, that same laugh. She hadn't posted it. Dana had, and she'd tagged the location. Not a restaurant. I typed, erased, typed, then called. She answered on the 4th ring. What? You at dinner? I'm with the girls. At a restaurant. The music behind her answered before she did. Don't start. You told me 10. At home. I said 10-ish. Erin, I'm not reporting to my father. She ended the call. At 10:30, I locked the deadbolt, put the chain on, left a note on the counter. Guest room's open. I'm up at 6. Calendar. She rattled the chain at 12:31 a.m. like a stubborn drawer. I opened the door to keep the neighbors out of it, then went back to bed. She followed down the hall. Seriously? Guest room's made, I said. We'll talk in the morning. She huffed. You're unbelievable. At least I'm on time. She slept in the guest room. I slept, period. At 7 I was up making coffee. She patted and looking like nothing had happened. That was dramatic. The chain? It was locked for the night. That's petty. Safety's petty. Got it. I poured coffee, pushed one across the counter. Calendar is non-negotiable. If you're out past 10, I need to know where and when you're back. If that doesn't work for you, adjust your plans. She curled a lip. You done setting the tone? I'm getting started. Budget's separate from today. Shared bills only. Everything else. Yours is yours, mine is mine. She snorted. Wow. Because I had fun. Because you lied by omission and then insulted me on the phone. She put both hands on the counter like she was claiming territory. I'm not asking permission to have a life. And I'm not offering to be a doormat. Pick. Pick what? Being married, or being single on weekends with a roommate who pays your bills. She stared for a full 5 seconds. You're scared of competition. Competition? I tilted my head. Do you think this is a contest? You act like I'm going to run off the second someone looks at me. If that's the plan, be honest and run. I'm not a prison guard. So I can't go out with friends? She challenged. Go out. Respect the time and the house. If you want clubs every weekend, say so, and I'll adjust. I won't be there when you get home. Meaning? Meaning I won't be in this with you. I took my coffee and my keys. I'm heading to the shop. Calendar. She called after me as I reached the door. You're overreacting. Maybe. I didn't look back. Or maybe I'm awake. My phone buzzed 3 times on the drive with messages I didn't read. When I pulled into the shop, there was one more. Fine. I'll keep it early. Happy. Functional, I wrote back. At noon, Jenna, a neighbor who was too observant for her own safety, came by for an oil change. She leaned on the counter while I rang her up. Saw Aaron and the girls last night. Sparkly. Yeah. She gave me the careful look people give when they're deciding if they're helping or lighting a match. They hit Maple Street after dinner. Busy place. Got it. I slid her receipt across. How's your new deck? Solid. She tapped the paper. You okay? I'm fine. I smiled enough to end it. See you at the block party. After she left, I stood still in the shop and listened to the hum. You know when someone's testing you to see how far they can slide the stool across the floor before it tips? I just put my foot down, and it was going to tip anyway. Saturday afternoon, our neighbor Peter had a backyard cookout. It was a rotating cast. Dads by the grill, kids on the grass, the usual commentary on sports and the tragic state of lawn care. Erin loves an audience when she's in the mood. She put on the same jacket and a new face. We moved through the small talk until Dana arrived and made sure everyone knew she'd arrived. The girls set up near the patio table like a satellite station. I joined Peter by the grill. Peter flipped burgers. You too good. We're negotiating terms. He smirked. Marriage in one sentence. Across the yard, Erin's laugh rang out. I could tell the volume wasn't for the joke. I wiped my hands on a towel. She made her way over with Dana at her shoulder. Peter, your grill smells amazing. Matt, you should learn. Matt cooks on Mondays, Peter said, loyal. It's his thing. She clucked like I was cute. He cooks on Monday and lectures on Friday. Dana made a sympathetic face to no one. Rules are so hot, though. I looked at the two of them, then at Peter, who was desperately interested in his spatula. Since we're sharing, I said calmly, we can get clear. Erin and I agreed. Any late nights go on the board. If it's a club, that's not on our joint menu. That's a single person's hobby. If she wants that, she can have it, solo. The yard went quiet in that way when people pretend they didn't hear, but also stop breathing. Erin blinked. Dana smiled like she'd won poker. Wow, Erin said. In front of everyone. I'm not hiding. I took a sip of water. You said I was sensitive. I'm calling it what it is. Controlling. Clear. Jealous. Selective. She laughed into her cup. You're afraid someone will outcharm you. I'm not competing, I said. I'm deciding. Deciding what? If this is a marriage or a hobby. Peter dropped a burger. We're good, I told him. Flip the food. Erin leaned in, voice low but not quiet. So I need your approval to dance with my friends. You need my respect to be in my house. You want to dance? Dance. You want to play at midnight with strangers? Do it as a free agent. Dana opened her mouth to pour gas. I held up a hand. Not your business. She shut it, but her eyes dared Erin to keep pushing. Erin's smile went sharp. Maybe I will go again tonight. After all this, I need it. Then pack a bag, I replied. Guest rooms occupied by consequences. She blinked again. She hadn't expected me to set an actual condition in public. That's the thing about boundaries. They're either real, or you just like the sound of your voice. Peter broke the tension by over-offering potato salad. People chatted louder on purpose. Erin retreated to her circle and made a show of not looking at me. Two neighbors I barely knew gave me the nod you give a guy who just bench-pressed an awkward moment. We left early. In the car, she finally fired. You embarrassed me. I corrected you. In front of everyone. You had witnesses when you called me jealous. Fair's fair. You think I'm lying to you. I think you're hiding and blaming me for noticing. You're impossible. I'm consistent. Her jaw worked. You can't order me around. I didn't. I gave terms. Choose. Fine. I'll stop going. Happy. She said it too fast. I looked at her profile and logged it. That's a good start. She crossed her arms and stared out the window like I'd made the trees misbehave. That night she stayed in. Sunday too. Monday she made dinner. Tuesday she asked how my day was. Wednesday she left a note on the board. Yoga, 6 to 7:30. Thursday she brought me coffee in the garage, leaned against the doorframe like we were new again. Miss me? She asked. Some parts. She smiled and came closer, hand on my shoulder. I know I've been off. I want us on the same page. I do too. I'll keep it normal. She kissed my cheek. Promise. Promises are like coupons. They expire if you don't use them. On Friday morning, she put Mom's house, Saturday daytime, back by evening, on the board with a little smiley face next to evening. I circled the smiley. She rolled her eyes but didn't erase it. Progress, if you like symbols. Saturday at 9, she pulled a small overnight bag from the closet. I'll bring her dinner and help with those boxes. She's been asking. Tell her I said hi. I meant it. Her parents are decent people who think we argue about paint colors. I'll be back by 7. Works. She kissed my cheek again like she was cashing in the week of niceness. Don't miss me too much. I'll survive. After she left, I went to the shop for a few hours, then swung by the hardware store for bins. I labeled 3, her office, miscellaneous, don't know yet. I stacked them in the spare room. Not as a threat, as a contingency. At 6:30, no Aaron. At 7, nothing. At 8, silence. I didn't call. I wanted a clean read. At 9, I texted, ETA. No response. At 10, I tried again. You said evening. Silence. At 11:20, I called her mom. She answered on the second ring. Hey, Marianne, I said. It's Matt. Hi, dear. Are you on your way? My way to pick up Aaron? She's with you, right? With me? Her voice did a small, confused shuffle. No, we haven't seen her today. I closed my eyes, opened them. Okay. Sorry to bother you. Have a good night. You too, dear. She paused, mother instincts humming. Is everything all right? We're fine. I lied. And hung up. At 11:28, I texted Aaron. Where are you? At 11:31, I'm at my parents'. I told you. Stop. Your jealousy is exhausting. I'm busy. I looked at the phone lit up in my hand. The week of sweetness fell into place like magnets flipping to the other side. Then find a little time to meet my attorney, I wrote back. The 3 dots popped up, vanished. 30 minutes later, the front door flew open. She didn't knock. She stormed down the hall like the house owed her something. What is that supposed to mean? She burst into the living room, hair still party tumbled, jacket open, eyes wide. Matt, are you kidding me? Welcome back, I said calm. Hard night at your parents'? You have no right. I called them. She froze. You did what? I called. They hadn't seen you. I set my phone on the coffee table. You lied to my face. Again. And then tried to make me the problem for noticing. I'm done. You called them? She was stuck on that, like the logistics were the betrayal. How dare you? How dare I verify where my wife said she'd be when she doesn't come home by midnight? I shrugged. Easily. She paced once, then turned on me with a practiced mixture of indignation and pleading. You're blowing this up over nothing. Nothing. I went out with the girls after I left their place. You said you were with your parents. I was going to go. I changed my mind. Then you text your husband, you changed your mind. Because you act like a warden if I step outside a box. I act like a man with a house and a schedule. You act like a teenager with a getaway car. She inhaled like she was preparing a speech. I cut in first. This ends now, I told her. You had a week to steady the ship. You used it to set me up for tonight. I'm not in your game. The marriage is over as of tomorrow morning. Her mouth opened, closed. You don't mean that. I already called the office. I'll be there at 8. You have until then to pack what you want to take. I labeled bins for your stuff. Clothes, toiletries, the rest is negotiable later. I stood. Keys on the hook. Garage remote on the bench. Her face changed gears into softer territory, so fast you could hear it. Matt, no? Please. I panicked when you said attorney. I knew you'd flip. I was scared to tell you where I really was. So I said parents. That was stupid. I'm sorry. Where were you? She swallowed. We went to listen to music. At that place on Maple. It was just loud music. I needed to dance, to blow off steam. I didn't talk to anyone. If that were true, you would have invited me, I said. You didn't want music. You wanted distance and attention you didn't have to earn. She stepped closer, palms up, tears welling by command. Can we start over? I'll stay home. I'll put anything on your calendar you want. I don't want to lose us. You don't get to lose something you've already left. That's not fair. It's accurate. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Her voice climbed. I just wanted to feel young. Light. For 5 minutes without feeling like a wife on a schedule. Congratulations, I said. You are neither now. She stared at me like I'd missed the point of my own life. You're throwing away years because I went dancing. I'm ending a contract I can't trust. You can dance all you want. Who is she? She flung, grabbing for a weapon she hoped existed. I almost laughed. My lawyer. She blinked, then scoffed. You think you'll win this? I don't compete, I said again. I decide. You'll be alone, she tried, and it was almost kind, almost a warning. I'd rather be alone than disrespected. She tried one more angle, the softest. She stepped closer, reached for my hand like a movie scene. Remember when you fixed the sink in the first apartment? You didn't even know how, but you figured it out. That's you. You fix things. Fix this. I fix what's mine. I pulled my hand back. You don't belong to me, and I don't belong to you. She wiped at her eyes, anger coming back as the kindness failed. You'll regret this. I regret giving you the benefit of the doubt for as long as I did. That's awful. It's honest. She looked around the room like the couch was going to vote. So what? I'm supposed to pack and leave before breakfast? Yes. And go where? You're an adult, I said. You'll sort it out. You're heartless. I'm just done. She watched me for 10 seconds, breathing like she could fill up the space with it. Fine, she said finally. But don't expect me to go easy. I don't expect anything from you anymore. I held the door to the hall. The bins are in the spare room. She stood there, weighing whether a dramatic exit would get her more points. Then she went a pack. I slept in the master. The house was quiet, with the kind of quiet you can feel in your bones. At 4:50 a.m., I woke to the soft scrape of a bin against a door frame, and then the front door clicking shut. I let the silence reset. I poured coffee at 6 without planning who I'd share the pot with. At 7:50, I drove to the office and signed the papers. There were no fireworks. There was no courtroom. Just a pen that worked and a decision that had waited long enough. People think the hard part is the talk. It isn't. The hard part is the stillness after, when the promise you made yourself has to keep breathing without someone watching. She tried to yank the rug on her way out. She texted that she was taking the guest TV. I'd installed it. I left the mount and kept the screen. She said she paid for the rug. I showed the receipt on my card. She told me she'd empty the account. I'd already separated funds. She wanted the dog she'd ignored for 2 years. I sent her a photo of his license with my name. She went wider, called Dana to float a story in the group that I'd flipped out because I couldn't handle her social life. Jenna texted me a screenshot, "And you okay?" I told her yes. She answered with a thumbs up and good. "Come by next Saturday. We're doing ribs." I moved on logistics the way I move on stuck bolts. Slow, steady, no showmanship. I changed the alarm code. I removed her from the house insurance. I gave her 30 days to pick up the rest of her stuff during shop hours, not evenings. I told her to text Marcus when she was on her way so I wouldn't accidentally be there. She tried a couple of times to pry a feeling out of me on the phone, then switched to formal. When she came by for the last bin, she did it while I was doing a pickup. She left her key and a note that tried for warm and landed on neutral. Good. The first week alone was weird. The house sounded different at night. There was an extra fork in the drawer. I forced the quiet to have a schedule. Gym before dawn, shop all day, dinner with friends twice a week whether I felt like it or not. Marcus dragged me to a baseball game. The seats were bad. The hot dog was worse. I loved the noise. I drove the long way home sometimes. Not because I missed her. Because I liked the extra 5 minutes to let the house know I was coming back to it, not to someone else's rules. 3 weeks later, I took a Saturday and went fishing by myself. No music. No timeline. When I got back, Jenna and Peter were out with their kids and waved me over for a burger. Peter handed me a plate and said, "You look lighter." I put down weight, I said. Jenna bumped my shoulder with a neighbor's kind nosiness. "Erin's been staying with Dana," she said. "Lot of girls' nights." "Fits. She tried to get me to say you were controlling," Jenna added, a little grin. "I told her you were clear. Clear works." A month in, a woman brought her truck into the shop with a noise I could diagnose between breaths. Her name was Laura. She laughed like it belonged to her, not the room. She didn't look at my hands to guess my bank account. She paid on time and thanked Marcus for doing the alignment right. We talked about dogs and old houses. I didn't ask for her number. I'm not in a hurry. But I didn't feel the old pull backwards either. Erin tried one last move. A long message about history and comfort and how we were better than paperwork. I reread my reply 3 times to make sure it sounded like me, not a man trying to win something he didn't want. You had a week to change actions, and you used it to set up a lie. I'm not your backup plan. I hope you find what you're looking for. Don't text me again unless it's about logistics. She didn't. I heard from a friend of a friend that she bounced between Dana's couch and her parents' place, talking about moving to a new city for a fresh start. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. What she doesn't have is my house, my late nights, or my name in her game. The best part? The quiet has a shape now. It isn't empty. It's mine. The truck starts on the first turn. The shop runs smooth. I see my buddies more. On Wednesdays, Marcus closes up and we sit on the curb with takeout, talking about stupid stuff like we did before we forgot that time is the most expensive thing we own. On Sundays, I take the dog for a long walk and don't check my phone. He glances up at me like he's waited for me to figure this out. Do I get lonely? Sometimes. I'm a human being, not a machine. Some nights I watch a show and pause it to say something to no one. I let the quiet answer. It does. It says, you traded noise for honesty. Good deal. If I'm honest, it still stings a little when I think about the moment by the sink when she chose to make me the enemy instead of the partner. Not because I want her back. Because I wasted 5 minutes trying to talk a grown woman into standards she didn't want. That's on me. That 5 minutes is on me. Last week, Laura came by again for a tune-up. She stood in the office while I rang her up and asked about good taco spots. I think she knew what she was really asking. I smiled and told her a place that's solid on Tuesdays. She said she might check it out next week. I said I might be there. No pressure. No performance. Just two people who know that calendars are useful and respect is oxygen. When I left that night, I walked into a clean house that smelled like lemon cleaner and not like a fight. I hung my keys on the hook that didn't have her set anymore. I stood there and said what I should have said months ago, out loud this time, just for me and the dog. I'm not competing, I told the empty room. I decide. Then I poured a drink, texted Peter about the weekend game, and slept like someone who'd finally read his own calendar correctly. Help more people see this story by giving it a like. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll be glad to read your comments. Thanks for watching.